Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if my keyboard actually works that far away. But as long as somebody else says hi, then I know I'm going. Somebody say hi. Or do I have to wait till 4? There we go. What's up, guys? Blow this up a little bit. I think that we're good to go. So I can't actually type over there anyway. Kind of silly. I am going to run the air conditioner because it's really, really hot and very, very humid. And I just don't want to deal with that right now. But hopefully you can still hear. We still good? Alright. Kevin asks, did I get my bot problem fixed? I don't know what that means. And lots of great friendly faces. It's good to see everybody here. Sean, Felix, Creeper Charger, Kenny, Finn, Sohail, regular maintenance, and Creeper Charge. So good to see some friendly faces. Okay, so today I just wanted to hang out, chill, and I'm going to assemble an O5L. This is an O5L, if you don't know, is my open source platform for designing your own custom computer case. And it takes all the hard parts out of it for you, like bend radius and corners and all that kind of stuff. So you can go download my files, and you can manipulate and change them, and send them off to have them made, like from SendCut Send. SendCut Send will bend them for you. And yeah, so if you want to also order something from me because you don't know any 3D modeling or anything like that, you can just request the changes you want. So this customer, for example, wanted a cutout here on the side, power supply cord. Yeah, and he specified the exact dimensions that he wanted as far as length, width, and thickness. I mean, he was very down to the millimeter, wanted it exactly so. So these are his call. And here's another one that he ordered, which I like a little bit better. It looks a little bit more like an S3. And basically I help you. Like, oh, that's not possible. So I do the moving around. I do all the 3D work, legwork. So yeah, so that's what the O5L is. And I'm going to put one together. So I was going to show you this one first. Little bit longer one. Put full-size graphics card. You can see there's a big cutout. And that's really for two reasons. One, it would cost a ridiculous amount of money for SendCut Send to put sky slots all the way across there. I mean, it would be an extra $100. So it's way cheaper if I laser cut acrylic out or something. So that's why the opening is right there. And two, you know, personally, what's wrong with these open frame cases? You get tons of ventilation, obviously. You get access to your parts. But this customer wants a cover, but I'm not going to put that on today because I don't have the cover made. So, yeah. Very simple design. 2 pieces, clamshell, but still really stiff. Stiff and thick enough to be a great case once it's all bolted together. There are other methods of folding and bending. I have various versions of the O5L, which could be even stiffer. But I want to keep it simple because if you're trying to bend it with your own tools, then this makes it a lot easier. And cheaper. Again, that's the whole idea. Have a customizable, a truly not from concentrate case that's affordable. Oh, Kevin, I didn't know about that, man. I'm out of it. I'm hoping that my brilliant, wonderful mods took care of the problem for me. So. But I hope that you got your 10 free Ethereum and didn't lose your social security number. I get a good night wish from Russia. Well, good night to you as well. It's good to see everybody. It really is. All right, so I'm going to open this little guy up. My Boker that my brother got me for my birthday several years back. Hey, Andrew. I am trying my very best to have a good day. How's that? When you order from Syncut Send, it comes vacuum sealed. Whether you're ordering flat parts or already bent parts. I thought I'd say I ordered some pretty big bent parts before, and they still vacuum sealed. It's kind of awkward when it gets to be that big. Reminds me of an evolution of the Century 2.0. Well, could be, or being that I made this computer case style about 5 years before the Century came out, maybe the Century's an evolution of this case. But yeah, it's a very popular case. That's why I'm not selling it. You know, like I love supporting other indie enthusiasts out there. Like, you know, Century, they're making their money selling their case. I could easily sell an actual production case like the Century in the S4 style, which a lot of people have asked for. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to step on their toes. This is a little bit different though, because it's not a case that I make. I just do the design work, and you guys get it made however you want. Or you can do the design work. Yeah, this is the S3 Mini, which is a very old design now, but you can see they're quite similar. And I would to see this shrunk down even further. So I'd like to see somebody do an O5L that's more of the S3 Mini's size. This came out about 5 years before the Century did. Not that being first matters. It doesn't. I don't know why I even brought that up. You know, make what you want. Enjoy it. Hey, Tanner, I'm glad I got you into Mini ITX, man. That's awesome. I love the ITX community. It's so much fun. So much fun. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to tap these parts, which is what you'll have to do if you order the O5L bent from Syncut Send, because again, they're not making the case, they're just bending the parts for you. So I have my speed tap, which is just basically a locking collet, and I'm going to be tapping it M3. Of course, you could choose whatever screw size that you wanted. And normally I would do this out in my garage because I don't want metal shavings all over my work area, but you know, I can't do that with the camera, so I'm going to do it here. Now with the speed tap, it has a little drill on it, which is awesome. So I've already designed all these holes to be used with a speed tap or a normal tap. But a speed tap would be ideal, so you don't have to worry about all this stuff. I've already figured it out. And you just go nice and slow, let the drill do the work. Generally speaking, I do use Tap Magic, which is a kind of lubricant. Would highly recommend it for the life of your tool. But I don't want to make a big giant mess here in my office, so I'm not going to be doing that. Again, just nice and slow as you can go, really. That's how fast you want to be going. I think the Century, is the Century still made of steel? Last I looked, it was still made of steel, so yeah, it'd be pretty heavy computer case. Of course, you can order the O5L and pretty much any material that you want that Syncut Send bends. Steel is an option. Of course, they have many different kinds of steel. You could even order one in copper. That'd be expensive. They may have a bendable alloy of brass. Also would be insanely expensive. This is 2mm thick aluminum. Generally speaking, I would highly recommend that if you're new to doing this, that you order your cases that I make, the O series cases, in 1.6 5052 aluminum. 5052 aluminum is a nice strong alloy that also can bend. You do not want to be ordering 6000 series aluminum because it will crack. You need to have specialized tooling to form 6000 series aluminum. And it's a computer case. It's not a bicycle. So you don't need to worry about that. Steelman's asks the real question that has any importance, and is that, did I move to the Burning Crusade or stay with Classic? Now, I am a huge World of Warcraft fan, old school World of Warcraft fan. Not hating on the new stuff, it's just not my game. But I played vanilla way back in the day when it came out, and I was like the perfect age, I say, for that. There's not really a perfect age, but for me it certainly was. It was an age where I could really appreciate the gameplay and the mechanics and still be kind of whiffed away to the magical, huge, enormous world, open world with so many people. And I just love the community. Just absolutely love the community. So I was really excited, of course, when Blizzard announced that Classic WoW was going to be coming out. And I had 2 wonderful years inside of Classic. And I would prefer to stay in Classic because for me, it's just a place where I go and hang out with my friends. Kind of like a chat room almost. But we can just do silly things and push ourselves to do different challenges. But everybody moved to the Burning Crusade. So that's pretty much where I have to go in order to play. But my beef is this. I think that Blizzard should have made Burning Crusade servers that you would copy your character to. That seemed to me to make the most sense. Because there's already established community in the vanilla community. But they did not do that. Instead, they made it so the vanilla servers automatically upgrade to Burning Crusade, and then you copied over your character to a vanilla server, which ruined everything. It got rid of my guild. It got rid of a ton of guilds, every guild on the server. It made a huge mess. So it's going to take a long time, I think, for the Classic community to come back and reform. And I think it will eventually after Burning Crusade's hype dies down. So there's my personal little spiel, but that's kind of what these streams are about. Just hanging out and chilling with my friends. So there's that answer. I'm not a Burning Crusade fan. I am not proud to admit that I've played more Burning Crusade than I think is possible to anybody else. Basically, all of college, I just focused on getting my grades, which was easy because it's, you know, it's college. It's not exactly hard anymore. It's not the 70s. And then playing Burning Crusade. So I think that I averaged like 16 hours a day in Burning Crusade. It was ridiculous. So I'm done with Burning Crusade. I really am. But I'm going to just hang out with my friends and play that. So, all right. So where were we? We got most of these things tapped. I've got to do the back side now. Now, the cool thing about the O5L, the reason that it's more than just 2 pieces of folded metal is the retention system for the graphics card. Because you need special tooling or some really fancy securing system in order to have a GPU mount in the back. That's where most people run into trouble when they're developing their own case, making their own case for the first time. And I know several people in this chat who have tried to or made cases or as experiment, like as a fun project to make their own case. And that was the part where they had the most trouble. And for sure, myself was included. So this is the part of the O5L that has any kind of, I don't want to use the word IP, but special sauce to it. And of course, it's all open source, but it is the mounting system, which is so simple that when people see it, it's like, well, duh, but I've been doing this for 10 years now, and just now, when I made this, I guess 2 years ago, came up with a solution for it. So it wasn't as simple to actually make happen as it was to see it working. Oh, I still need 2 more. Do I need 2 more? Yeah. Wait, no. Let me look. 1 second. I'm just going to tap it because either way it'll work for me. Piewalker Matt, Piewalker is a great name, asked, why are there no sky slots on the entire bottom of the chassis? Well, you could. You could, of course, do anything that you want with the O5L. You could make heart-shaped cutouts, square cutout, whatever you want. But this is not so much the O5L as a O5L. This is a customer spec'd O5L. And, of course, the more cutouts that you add, the more expensive the case gets, because that's time with the CNC, the laser. So there are only sky slots where they need to be, which is over the GPU bay area, and not where they don't need to be, which is over the power supply or motherboard. And if you did have cutouts for the motherboard, yeah, it's nice. You get a little bit extra ventilation, maybe for your NVMe drive, but to be honest, it's just not necessary. So I gotta take a photo real quick. And we'll be on our way. So here is our tray, our nice stiff tray, and let's start loading it up. First, I'm going to make sure that I have all the little metal shavings on this piece of cardboard. Victor says, does this support the Founder Edition coolers? Well, I don't know if this particular one does. I was going to support some of them, but the O5L can be stretched in any dimension. You can make it really fat, you can make it really skinny, you can make it really long. So this will fit literally any GPU you want it to. You just spec it out. You say, I want it to be 362.4 millimeters long, and boom, you can order it 362.4 millimeters long. So this customer, again, spec'd out the exact dimensions for this particular O5L. And I will give you the dimensions, the rough dimensions, in 1 second. I'm sure that I got all metal. All right. This particular one is can support GPUs about 265 millimeters in length, which would mean that it would support the this is a 6700 XT? Yeah, 6700 XT Pulse, which would be really cool. Although it's going to be pretty difficult to get in there. There we are. Look at that. This would be the perfect GPU for this build, I think. Plenty of power, looks good. But this is the one that's going to be used, which is, I believe, a 1660 Ti, which will also look good inside the computer case. I'm going to put some mini feet on because I want to demonstrate that. Here are my beautiful machined mini feet, which you can get at my website, Conical Feet. And I included holes in the O5L files, spaced out perfectly, If you don't want to use them, then delete them when you open up the file. Yeah, Steelman, this is like the beefiest 1660 Ti of all time. It's a little bit overkill, considering how I have a low profile one. 1660 Ti, 1660 Ti. But at any rate, it's going to run nice and cool. That much we know. Maybe the customer I can get to upgrade to that 6700 XT. Nothing like a little peer pressure, right, y'all? Well, what'd you think about my feet? I have to basically go barefoot because the way the camera is set up, I have to like crouch down when I'm doing these streams because I'm really tall, believe it or not. So I have this table like all the way up and it still just looks awkward. I'm just towering over this table. So if I wear shoes, I'm just a little bit too tall. Okay, so we got the mini feet on there. I think that looks really, really nice. Civet, it's gonna lift up the case just a little bit so we can get some nice airflow sucking in from the bottom. Now I want to show you the secret sauce. These are the 3D printed retention brackets. And I do have a special really stiff material. It's called Onyx. It's a nylon / carbon fiber mix. So it's a little bit stronger than, I guess, just plain old nylon, at least in theory. But I think plain old nylon would work fine. Really just anything you want to 3D print. But this works really well. It works so well that it blows my mind, which is why I guess it took so long for me to come up with something like that. I just wouldn't think this would work, but it works really, really well. Got plenty of room to install. I think I will install the power switch first to just make it a little bit easier. Maybe. Maybe I'll have to take it out, because it'll be less easy. Piewalker says, have I thought about potential water cooling configuration with this chassis? I'm hoping that Flex chassis would allow more possibilities of CPU only cooling or even both CPU, GPU custom loops. Sure, you can, like I said, if you go to my Patreon page, which is where you can see all the different variations of this, YouTubers do get the O5L base model, but all the different variations are on my Patreon. I have a liquid cooled version. I don't really like this format for liquid cooling. Instead, I've developed the O6W, which is, I think, for liquid cooling in the smallest possible configuration where you're still, able to get your hands in and work on the system. Nothing crazy, like a normal average builder could be able to assemble. Might have to make my own power plug later. Of course, if you wanted to extend it out, you could extend it out further and then have a triple rad up front. I mean, there's really no limit to this. Again, you can make it as tall as you want. So if you wanted to put like a double rad in the front, make it a little bit taller, put a triple rad, whatever you want to do, man, you can do it. It's super simple to make the changes to the files. Oh, wait, I gotta do this one first. So I just print the Onyx GPU tab retainer, and then I screw the screw into it. I don't have to tap it or anything like that. The screw does all the tap work for me. And this holds it so well. Like, it's surprising. It's super stiff. And once you get this in here, it actually holds it stiffer than having a aluminum tab. If you can believe it. I do have a really high-end produced video that's been completed for months now. I kind of made a mistake because I want to do it with Sapphire, so I did in collaboration with Sapphire, so it has their GPU and stuff. I did make some live stream videos showing me designing it, but they've been kind of holding off on allowing me to release it for months now. I do not know why. They want to do a giveaway with the case. It turned out really beautiful. Really excited to show it to you guys. We just need to get them to send it off. I'll flip it around so you guys can see the back. But really simple. Nothing more to it than that. It's just as simple to install as installing a GPU in a normal computer case. But this is so strong. It is so beefy holding this tab here. It's really crazy. You're still going to get, of course, some flop from the GPU, which is what you're going to get in any computer case of this design. I do have some clamps designed, some aluminum clamps with holes provided for it in the files. You'll see that in the O5L design, of course, to keep the GPU from moving up and down. So what I do is I take the little neoprene pad, the square pad that comes with the Noctua coolers, which is what I always buy unless a customer tells me to buy something else. And then that can go underneath the GPU. I have it spaced out perfectly. And then you'd put the clamp down on it, and then it would hold the GPU, and it would keep it from going anywhere. This is a clampless version. He did not order the clamp, so I'm just going to tape it down in there. Una momento. Now I'm going to put the standoffs on, and I believe this design is for 8mm standoffs, not 10. Maybe it's 10. Let's put them in there and find out. Yeah, speaking of that, Felix, I think my channel is dying because views across the board, even on the new videos, are down over 50% and have been for a while. And the like content or like ratios are good. I don't think I've really changed the style of the videos at all. I mean, I do try to improve the quality each time, but I think it's just one of those things where you have something for a little while and then it goes away. But that's okay. I really just do YouTube for the educational aspect of it, to help people out in their builds. Luckily that it is nice to have a little bit of extra income to pay for all the equipment, but I would starve to death if YouTube had to pay my bills. Because it's also really weird too, because I watched like some of those videos of like, how much money do you make via YouTube? And people that have way less views on their videos than some of mine will go through it and they'll be like, here's $400 for this video with 700,000 views. Like, $400? What am I doing wrong? I kind of want to do one of those videos to show you guys too, because I've made like $2,500 over the lifetime of my channel. How long has my channel been around? 5 years? Over the entire lifetime. And remember, YouTube takes a percentage of that. So I don't know what percentage of that they take, but yeah, so it's not a really good money-making venture if you're thinking about going into a small form factor computer for YouTube space. I could do Twitch. I could do something like that. I like doing computer design work and building cases and stuff like that, but I'm not really computer savvy, I guess, enough to kind of keep up with all the stuff that you need to know, I guess. So I don't really know how I'd make that transition over. Plus, most of the following I guess I have enough people in the Discord that might want to watch a Twitch stream. The quality should be better, though, on Twitch, because golly, the quality of YouTube is awful. I got 4K going in, and I'm streaming at 10,000, and what you're getting at the end of the day is a potato skin. Okay, that's a mistake that I made. I'm going to have to loosen this foot. I need more relatable content. What is relatable content? I would love to provide that. But thank you for the kind comment. 360p out. Oh, that's worse than a potato skin. Hi, Trackness. Thank you for the well wishes. Stainless steel screws. Gotta love them. There. Ha! I win. Okay. Let's repeat that now. Well, actually, I'm going to use my calipers to make sure it's the right size first. Okay. These are 10. At 3 kilobytes a second. Or kilobits. I don't know which it is. All I can tell you is that I'm sending out way more than that. All right, these are 10, and 10 is a little too high. Would work, but I'm going to go to 8. Sorry that I blanked on that. I just have made a case recently that I had to change to 10 to clear something, a special custom design. So I wasn't sure. The S4T uses 8mm standoffs. And for people wondering, I'm so close to being able to send those to you guys. So close. It hurts. I think you should be able to get a 5000G. Even the 47 series was actually pretty easy to get. Like, you couldn't buy them on Newegg or whatever, sure, but you could easily find them on eBay for reasonable prices. And there were several European vendors and Japanese vendors and Korean vendors that had them available right on their website. Oh, I'm glad that helped you out, Kenny. Yeah, I don't know about reviews. Like, I could absolutely do reviews. I could absolutely do reviews. But the really only thing that I'm knowledgeable in this world, just from sheer brute force, is small form factor case design. And while I could make a really cool channel dedicated to reviewing only small form factor cases, one, there are other channels that do that, probably better than I could, like Optimum Tech. And two, it's also tacky because I make a computer case and sell it. And that's kind of the problem I have. It's like, I could never really be critical of another case because I don't want people to think, oh, well, he just is biased because he wants people to buy his case, which is silly because my case is not a mass manufactured case. They're going to sell out whether I advertise them or not. Just, I mean, based on how few I make of them, I can't really push more volume out. My problem is on the other side of things. You know, like I try to slow down sales of them because I don't have enough volume. But you know how it is. It's all about optics. And I don't want to get into mudslinging. Like, what if I was critical of a certain aspect of a small form factor case because I didn't think it would be a good buy for you guys, and then the creator of that goes on small form factor Reddit or the small form forums and says that, you know, I'm trying to keep them from making a small form factor case, and I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to. So when I retire from selling cases, yeah, I think that's a good idea. DMX says, what's the best way for someone to start designing and building a PC case? I think the best way to do it is download SketchUp and go to a SketchUp library, like a small form factor forum, or the Jez McKean website, download some parts and pieces, and just start arranging stuff. And you can do that for free. And once you find an arrangement that no one else has done before that you can improve upon somehow, then you start skinning it, you know, wrap the case around it, the structure around it. And that's probably the best way to do it. Now, I could help you go further than that for sure, but that's ground zero. You need to be able to come up with a case design first. Before I had the computer, before I used SketchUp, I would use cardboard. I've designed cases since at least 2001. Maybe a little bit before then. Just in my garage, you know, for friends and stuff. I tell this story all the time, but one time I went to a sleepover in like 2001, 2002, and my friend was like, you know, I want to do a computer case mod. I'm like, I do too. So what's mod your computer? And we took his computer case out, and then we took all his parts out of it, and we got the little Debbie boxes in his pantry, and we cut the little Debbie boxes up and taped them all together and had a new case with better cooling, because back in the day, you know, computer cases were awful and weighed 600 pounds because they were made out of like 2 mm thick steel. Metro Gnome Band says, what do you think about making massive heatsinks on both sides, putting two fans at the bottom and having one side cool the graphics card and the other side cool the CPU? I like that idea. A couple people have attempted it before in the past. I think that a popular YouTuber has done this. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think a better idea would get to the two tower coolers, though, and mount them to the graphics card and to the GPU, and then flip them so you have like a wind tunnel in the middle of fans rushing through. I think that would be the way to go. Kindle sends a super chat, which I really appreciate. Thank you very much for supporting me in the channel. Says, thanks for all my content. You've inspired me to build my father-in-law a console-sized build. I hope this helps. It does help. It really helps a lot that you let me know that what I'm doing here is worthwhile for you guys and you enjoy. And I'm so glad that I can get people inspired to make their own computer case. It's so fun. It's way more fun than going and buying a computer case and stuffing your stuff into it. It's way more fun to do it this way. And it's not hard. And with the tools that I'm trying to provide, it's even easier. All right, I'm going to take my little neoprene block. I know this feels ghetto, but really when it's all assembled, it works perfectly well. And no one ever has to know. Boop. And now, that graphics card is not going to flop. And it's going to have a perfect air gap for the fans. Okay, I'm going to try to say this name. Giame? Giame? Did I do it? Giame asks, what do you think about water cooling? I love water cooling. Water cooling is the bomb. It is so fun to do, but it is not efficient and it is super expensive. And all-in-one coolers, I absolutely hate. And I will never endorse an all-in-one cooler. I get emails literally all the time from companies, that are respectable companies, and they're like, hey, would you like to review this all-in-one unit? Every week I turn down a review of something like this, and I will not do it because they're awful. I think that they're just super hyped. They're really expensive. People are like, want to get into water cooling because it's a really cool idea, right? Who doesn't want to have a liquid cooled system for their first computer? But they're garbage. They're not any better than the air coolers out there. They're more maintenance, and they fail after a period, a couple years, because the liquid evaporates from them. I don't care that they're sealed. Liquid still evaporates from them, and the pump performance will eventually get worse and worse, and they'll die. I was all about the all-in-ones when they first came out. I thought they were genius because I was building a lot in the SG-05 from Silverstone when I was doing like installs for corporations and things of that nature. What would you call it? System integration for business. And I would put the 120 all-in-one in the front. And I used various different suppliers. The first one was what? Who's the guy that owned the patents on the units? I forget, but I went through multiple different brands over the period of 3 years. And after 3 years, I started getting tons of emails from all the systems that I built saying like they were overheating, they weren't turning on anymore. And it was because the pumps died on all of them without fail. And it was from multiple manufacturers, not just one, multiple models. So that kind of spooked me off. And then the ones I had in my personal system and I also built for personal friends also failed eventually. So I'm not for them. And they don't, like I said, they don't perform well. So what's the point? And then you have the big ugly tubing that never ever will fit in your case correctly and you have to fold it over. I'd say just skip that. Buy a high quality air cooler. That's what I think. But like custom liquid cooling, I love. It's lots and lots of fun. Not worth the money, but lots of fun. The only time it's worth the money, actually, is I have this giant liquid cooled radiator pump combo out in my garage. And I can pump in up to 2 loops, and I can chain those 2 loops all along my workbench, which is awesome. Because that means all the heat from my office is now outside of my garage. So in the summertime, when I'm running multiple rigs, or if I'm mining or something on this rig over here, because I'm kind of stuck with it, that's awesome. That is worth it. But it's also very expensive to do something like that. So I guess it does save me in air conditioning builds. Matthew also super chats, and I really appreciate that, man. He says, I sent an email earlier. I really appreciate your response. Maybe you can go to a bit more detail. Oh, he wants... what was the question? Oh, it was like, what was the best way to go get your case manufactured? It would help if you restage your question. But think he wanted to know, like, how do you go from having to design to reality? And the first thing I would really stress, especially for people that are looking to do this, is be ethical. It's not ethical to take your design that you love, it's your baby, because you spent a lot of time in the computer making it, and immediately think that you can start selling it. That's not ethical. I know we don't think that way. I was there too, by the way, for many, many years. This is why I'm giving this advice. Not on a high horse, just looking back. It's not ethical because you cannot deliver the idea that you have in your mind as you have it to your customer yet. There are so many things that are outside of your control that you need to be able to handle and prove before you can take money from your customers. And that's one of the things that really bothers me about Kickstarters, is that people will be really gung-ho about their product. And of course they are. They spent last year or whatever putting their heart and soul and energy into this wonderful design that think it's going to solve all their problems, and hopefully it will. But they haven't put the legwork into the hard part. Like, design is this much of the process, and here is delivery of the product. After you design your product, you need to actually prototype it. And I don't mean make the case, but I mean test and prove that your concept works really well. So that means, of course, getting one made or multiple ones made and building in it and building it and building in it and seeing, okay, was this the best way to put these two screws together? Is this the easiest way to be able to install this component? Is this part right here too sharp? Is this part right here get in my way? Like, you really have to put the time and energy into it so the experience building in something is really good for your customer. Then after you have that, send it to customers. Find the potential customers on the forums or wherever, and say, hey, look, I have 5 of these. I want you guys to sign something that says you're going to give me feedback, and I want you to pay shipping so there's skin in the game, and you'll get a credit for the final product later for your shipping. So it's essentially completely free for them. But and send it to them and have them actually test it for you and see what they think. Because as good as we think our products are, until we get feedback, they're not done yet. Next up, after you have that prototype stage done, that's like the alpha prototype, right? Hold on, I'm going to hold that thought. I'm just trying to remember what I'm actually trying to screw. Okay, yeah. You have to move to the engineering phase. And the engineering phase is taking your concept that you came up with and talking to an engineer. Now, you may be an engineer, and that's great. It's going to save you a lot of time and money. But as an engineer, well, first of all, you probably wouldn't be talking to me. But secondly, you're going to want to find an engineer that's actually going to help you work with the manufacturer you choose so he can make changes specific to the manufacturer's tooling. And that's going to save you an incredible amount of money down the road because, you know, if they can take off $1 here or there and you're making 1,000 units, that's going to really start to add up, right? So that's really important, to work with an engineer and make sure that it is all done. Next, you have to think about packaging. Packaging is incredibly important, especially in light of today, because shipping is so incredibly expensive. Shipping is outrageously expensive. So if you can determine the volume of the packaging and look up the rates and talk to the logistics providers and find out the gross shipping weight of the volumetric weight of the product, you might actually go back to the drawing board and make your case a certain size or shape or cut down the weight even further in order to save literally tens of thousands of dollars in shipping. So that's something I would really look into. So work with an engineer that's going to be able to help you with that. Then is choosing a manufacturer. Now, that kind of goes hand in hand with the engineer, right? But the manufacturer, I think people just kind of like send out their files to random people, random Chinese people or Eastern European manufacturers, because they're obviously the cheapest. But I'm sorry, but there's no other way to say this. They're using you to sell your computer case to people, right? You're doing all the work. You've come up with the design. You put the money into the prototyping. You're coming up with the tooling for them. You're the one marketing the product. You're the one putting the foot in the door, and then they're just going to manufacture your case and sell it through different channels. So you need to find a reputable manufacturer that is not going to do that to you, and you're going to pay more for that, but you're going to make more back because they're not going to steal your product from you. So that's really, really important. Be really careful about who you sell your file, who you work with. Be really, really careful. And I'm talking from experience because I've been burned big time. Yeah, my Noosa tubs, dude, I have an entire drawer full. They're so awesome, color-coded. I had to eat a lot of yogurt to do this. But, okay, so where was I with the manufacturing? I don't want to go too much into this. I don't want to alienate everybody else in the thing. But after you get manufacturing done and the partner chosen, then you do your final prototypes. And that's a huge step because the prototypes of making one is a completely different process than the prototypes of making something with your final tooling, like 1,000 or even 100. Completely different process. If you just ordered 1 or 2 cases from a manufacturer and they don't have the tooling set up, you're not going to get the same thing you ordered when they ship. You're not. And if you just ship it to customers without actually checking first, you're going to be you're going to be in hot water. You're going to be in very hot water. And this is true of professional manufacturers and cheaper budget manufacturers. So finished prototyping is very important. After you've gotten all done, make the darn case and check it yourself. Order it several times and go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Then you have to come up with the logistics. And this is where it gets to be more complicated. But just because you took money from people on Kickstarter doesn't mean that you're going to be able to deliver the product easily. So make sure that you have that under control and you have figured out the shipping and everything because you can get burned really quickly when it comes to shipping. And then lastly, after you have everything figured out, then if you want to start asking people to review your computer case, go for it. But otherwise, it's just so frustrating. Who else is frustrated about all the product releases and announcements that get reviewed on YouTube and then never see the light of day or take months and months and months and months to come out? I'm frustrated. I mean, look at the S4T. I control most of that, and it still took forever. I bet you guys are frustrated about it too. So try not to contribute to that. Be ready to sell your product. Have your product available. I'm tired. I think I typed most of that out anyway. I want to talk about this. I'm really excited for this power supply. I'm not a Flex fan for multiple reasons. It's hard to make a case that actually makes an efficient use of a Flex power supply. Of course, the fans are usually pretty loud too, but this is the best Flex power supply I've seen so far. Has plenty of breakout cables, so you can actually do some custom cable work if you wanted to. Instead of just having 2 plugs, you have 3, 4, 5, 6 plugs. One of them is going to be bound for ATX, but that's really good. It's has a good finish on it, nice and black. It's 500 watts, and it's by FSP. So it's actually going to be a 500. I trust that it's a 500 watt power supply. A lot of Flex power supplies, you buy them, and they have a rating on them that is just an absolute joke. It won't even come close to hitting that rating in the real life. But I actually trust FSP, so I believe in this. I believe in it. So this is the bet. This is the ultimate Flex power supply on the market right now, in my opinion, and in other people's opinions too. So this is the FSP 500-50 UG. I don't know if you can buy it in the US yet. You might be able to now because it's been sitting on my shelf for a little bit, but this is the one to go with. And the cables, oh, baby. Oh, they are oh man, they're the silicon jacket cables. They are so flexible. Oh, they feel amazing. Oh, they feel amazing. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, dude, it's like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. For mounting, I have mounting holes on the chassis. You can use a custom bracket for the power supply you want. You can 3D print something out. I have a metal bracket also in the files. I'll be doing some testing. I'm actually going to mount it just like this for right now. Boop. Which is a permanent solution, but if I want to change it, I can. Yeah, I've purchased quite a few flex power supplies because, again, I don't use them. I don't like them, but I'm trying to keep up on it because there's got to be an interesting layout for a computer case. I mean, the Velka is, I think, pretty interesting, but there's another one hiding somewhere in here. Okay, which one does this go to? CPU. Wait, what? SATA. Is it this right here? I probably should read the manual because that could be pretty spicy if I get it wrong. But what I was thinking of when I designed this, or rather, when I was thinking of when I had this in the computer, is that the Flex, why not? It might not make too much sense. You do get to save a little bit of space, obviously, in depth from an F sub X power supply. But then, like, what do you do with this room over here? Well, I guess if you're still one of those people, you could put 2.5-inch drives over it. Or you could even put a 3.5-inch drive because there is enough room. Well, a thin one. Make a bracket for it. Probably on the top cover panel, actually flip it around, keep it as cheap as possible. Yeah, so that would be one interesting use of the space. This is the powder coat finish on it is cool looking too. So good job, FSP. This is GPU, which is just one plug, looks like. Where does that go? And the CPU. This is what I was curious about. Do the cables reach? And they do. They even design the cables well, because I've seen flex power supply units where this would not be a possible build. So yes, super high recommendations for the FX500G-U by FSP. There are no instructions though, so I'm just hoping that I have that 24 pin plugged into the right space. I'll check it with the multimeter before I turn it on. Sorry, Cryptier, but you gotta hear the truth, man. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. This is the Leaheat riser. I'm using the current batch of my Skyreach 4 minis because I pretty much went broke and could not afford to get more Siliflex risers in the quantity I needed to order them in. And Leaheat is a really cool company, and they actually helped develop the first riser for the S4MC. I think I was their first customer. Tanner asks, I listened to my podcast on Moore's Law is Dead. I loved it. Did you enjoy doing that? Hey, man. Well, that's crazy. I'm glad that you liked it. I don't like doing them. It's not that I don't like. there's no drama or anything. It's just that I feel awkward on a podcast like that, especially Moore's Law is Dead, because it's such a technical podcast, and I'm so not a technical person. I'm so bad at almost everything in life. I have a couple good things that I'm good at. Praise God, I'm thankful for them. I try not to step out of my boundaries. I just feel that I can't really help out the kinds of viewers that listen to that channel. I don't know. Maybe it's a personal thing. A personal insecurity, I guess, is the way to put it. Are we going to reach all the way over here? Hello, metronome. That's what you gotta do. One of my best friend's first mod, he took a painter stick. Now this is way long time ago. This is like 1996. Painter stick and some duct tape, and taped it to the side of his computer case and wrapped the hard drives on and put a fan on them too to blow over in the CPU area. Oh man, sad times. I went right through it. I think the reason, Athena, that I am so against mechanical drives, it's not that I'm against the mechanical drives. I'm against them being inside of a computer. These days, I'm a huge fan of, attached storage. I use network attached storage. I have a 10 gigabit Ethernet card on my Synology NAS. So all my data, all my files are on that, and I can edit video right off my NAS, which is awesome. And then my computers are free to be really flexible, to be small, to be tiny, to be move around. And I don't ever have to worry when my computer goes down that my data is available to me, because it's available to everything on my network. So I feel like that much storage has its own place, right? So that's kind of why that's my opinion on hard drives, I guess. Big hard drives. And it's just an opinion. And it's my opinion, so it's not even an important one. So, all right. Pre-bin this baby. There we go. Line this up now. I probably should have taken out. I'm gonna do that now. The plugs in the back are giving me a hard time. That's a good point, Tanner. Solid point. I would say feed me questions, but this is kind of just how YouTube feels lately. It's like, okay, we ran out of things to talk about. Everything's slowed down. I'm excited for the S4T. Really hoping that it's going to be available by the end of this week. Really hoping that the web developer is going to come through, because that's the only thing. It's like, it's ready to go. Ready to go, ready to ship. All right, let's throw some zip ties on these bad boy. Ever thought of a monitor stand small form factor case? There's lots of things I thought about, but I never want to pursue it. Leaheat, however, yeah, the people that make the riser, they have decided to go and do that. So they're actually using one of my patents, and they're making a monitor stand case. Go Leaheat. Athena, I'm not smart enough to use anything but a Synology, so power to you. What do you think about all-in-ones? I love all-in-ones, but not, well, I love the idea of all-in-ones. Very few companies can make a good one. HP had a good one. It was one of their Z series. That was quite some time ago, though, at this point. Microsoft, of course, has a really fantastic one, and you can't beat Apple on the all-in-ones. I even have one. I use one for my video editing and stuff. So, I am a fan. And Edmund, you're absolutely right. The S4T, the Sky slots are VESA compatible. So a bracket that's like a shim that fits between your monitor and your VESA, right? It comes over and bends, and you can just mount the S4T to that. So you have your own all-in-one with an S4T. How do I want to do this? I think I'll just wrap it. Man, these cables are so deluxe, boys and girls. My pants are falling down, so if you see any butt crack, I'm warning you. Sorry. Not trying to be that guy, but... love these floppy cables. Yeah, Ren, I'm not at all active in small form factor forum. It has to be a miracle that I even get a notification. So, don't expect an answer there. But I'm very active on my forum and in my email. I always answer all my emails. So if you haven't heard from me, it's because I didn't get the email, so I might want to send it again. Hey, Matthew, that's a great idea. Like, if you can talk to your employer about where they manufacture their stuff and they don't have a problem, like you don't have a non-compete or something, that would be a great way to do things, I think. And your background's going to help you out big time. You're going to be able to skip all those steps that I laid out. Let's go right to the end. Richard asks a fun question. What small form factor computer case would I pick that's off the shelf if I absolutely had to? And I'm guessing that you're talking about not an NFC product. It would either be the Lian Li T150 or the Cooler Master. Is it the NR200? It'd be one of those two. I think the NR200 is a superior designed computer case for people that want to really build something out fancy. But the T150 is incredible for quickly throwing a computer inside of it. And then, yeah, it has the handle on top. So that's probably what I would recommend. You really can't go wrong with either. I'm not saying, I say the NR200 is superior. It is superior if you look at it on a piece of paper, but both are fantastic choices. Papa says, what documentation video do I recommend for learning about the power supplies I use in my small form factor PCs? I am the only source I know of. It's why this channel was first founded. So my first videos on it are those small form factor videos. So I would really recommend going to my website, my YouTube channel, and watching the videos on the power supplies. I have short ones on the power supplies that explain everything about them, so you don't have to watch like really long live streams. I don't know of any other source or documentation. It's kind of all enthusiast-driven, non-professional, big companies, so there's not really a lot of documentation for any of it. The Lian Li is not extremely expensive. They used to be, but now they're a very mainstream. The T150, I bought the T150 for $50. Like, they have sales on it all the time. I think it was $55, but that is not expensive at all. It's way less money than the Mesolysis. And Silverstone cases, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I was a big fan of the Sugo series. They haven't moved on with the times now. They're not super modern. You know, Lian Li and Cooler Master are ripping off the small form factor community of enthusiasts, and that's kind of a good thing because they're actually ripping them off. They're taking all the great ideas and making great computer cases now that are affordable for everybody. Whereas Silverstone is still kind of making computer cases that are designed in the old ways with the old methods. It will change. Silverstone's a great company, but they haven't really caught up yet. Well, that could be yeah, I guess that's true. Like, depending where you are, things are expensive, but not Lian Li in the US. Okay, so I got this. Let's take a look at this. Look at that. Nice compact case. Again, this is all set up according to the customer's dimensions. I just provide the holes and everything in the files and got it cut out and made. This has a 5600X, I believe, and a CryoRig C7 copper, which is really wanted with an NHL9i, NFA14. Sorry, I'm getting tired. Fan. The awesome SFP F500X power supply, and an MSI giant 1660 Ti, biggest 1660 Ti I've ever seen. But that's going to be a nice system. For power, I don't know if I have one yet, but I'll go look. But it would use a right angle cable. Come on. I ordered one that's lower profile. It's on the way. But this actually would work fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around nice and neat, tuck it underneath the frame, tuck it underneath the thing. I'm going to cut the end off, and I'm going to wire it to a C6 connector, which is on the back. But that is a project for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Josh. Today's Josh is just going to put the lids kind of sort of on for you guys to see. Do I know any flex power supplies? Flex power supplies? Flex power supplies that are 600 watts or above? No, they don't exist. This is probably the highest wattage one that actually would trust that actually is 500 watts. As I mentioned before, flex power supplies are notorious for not actually reaching their advertised peak. And it wouldn't be the right power supply anyway, and it would be so loud too, because it'd be so hot. The fan would be so loud. I would not recommend that. Just if you need that much power, design a computer case around SFX, preferably SFXL. Well, good for you, but it's definitely not. Please let it not be passed for me. I assume you're talking about Intel's 12 volt standard, that they're getting rid of all the unnecessary voltages for. And I think that's, oh man, I flipped it around, didn't I? I mean, the more wires we can get rid of, the better, right? But I don't think it's going to show up in consumer power supplies for a long time, if it even catches on at all. Thanks, Cirrus. Remnants of Beauty. Actually, funny that you should mention that. I'm pretty sure my O5L, my designed O5L that I made for Sapphire, does that. I'm hoping that video will release soon. It's up to Sapphire. Really, really hoping it'll release, because it's messed up my entire schedule. That was going to be the video I introduced the O5L, but they took so long. I made that Simca Sin video instead and some other stuff. But it shows you what you can really achieve with this platform. Thanks, Brayden. That means a lot to me, dude. It really does. Yeah, like Crypturf said, I mean, it's going to be for not us plebs. It's not going to come to us plebs for a while. I'd love to be wrong, though, because less wires is better. Here we go. He wants me to make a, oops, that fell out. He wants me to make a cover for it, obviously. So there is going to be a cover for it. But this is the base O5L with the dimensions the customer requested, which again are 270 by 65-ish by 335. And that's it. So unless there's anything else that we want to cover real quick before I knock off, I appreciate hanging out with you guys. We'll be doing another stream this month for Roadcast. Hopefully they're giving out some cool swag. And definitely that O5L video. Hope that's going to release this month. And hopefully, I mean, I've been saying for a while, the S4T will be out this week. Really, really, really want to push that to happen. So if you like the O5L, again, for people that are just coming in, this is not the O5L. This is a O5L. O5L is an open source format for using files I've provided to make your own computer case. You can adjust it in any dimension to support any size graphics card or height cooler, whatever you want. And you can reuse the different cutouts and the mounts, see how things how I put things together. And of course the GPU retention system, which you can 3D print at home. So this is just the best way to have a custom computer case that you spec out 100% completely yourself and get made for an affordable price. So that's the project for the O5L. I'll have a link in the description after this is done where you can download the files. They're already on my YouTube channel though, if you want to go back and look at the SynCutSyn project video. And yeah, if you want your own O5L custom spec'd out, and you want me to do all the 3D work for you and the paint work and all that, just hit me up in my email. But I appreciate you guys. Sam, this whole video is going to be recorded and will be on YouTube. So if you want to clip it and reuse it, you can reuse my stuff however you want. You don't have to ask permission. So yeah, go for it. How would supply enough power to push a 3070 and a Ryzen 9? 400 watts probably. Yeah, I would say a 450 watt power supply. As long as it's a quality power supply, 450 watts. No problem. And if you do some tuning, you would have that in the bag at under 400 watts. This whole system right here, I'm going to guess is going to draw 130 watts. Kind of overkill cooler and GPU. I think a better card for this system would be something like the 5700, or sorry, this is the 6700 XT, which would give you way, way more GPU power and performance in this form factor, but it's not mine. All right, thanks everybody. I really appreciate you. God bless. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you soon. And I'm going to make another power cable for it. I just had to put something in there right now. It's going to be fine. So don't worry.